Hello, I'm Eric Kane, the Director of ESG Research for Bloomberg Intelligence, and for this month's ESG News Bulletin, we'll highlight three key items. First, we'll discuss Hurricane Beryl and our related research on climate damages. Second, we'll discuss Google's recent decision to abandon claims of carbon neutrality. And third, we'll discuss the recent vote in favor of the EU nature restoration law. I'll then be joined by Karen Brenseke, a Bloomberg market specialist, who will walk through some of the tools and functions we have on Terminal to measure biodiversity impact and performance. So earlier this month, Hurricane Beryl became the most powerful hurricane ever recorded this early in the Atlantic hurricane season. And scientists are pointing to the role that climate change played in its development. Specifically, they note that water temperatures in the tropical Atlantic have been in record-breaking territory for over a year, which means that there's more heat to fuel storms that wouldn't typically become hurricanes this early in the year. At BI, we continue to monitor the financial implications of climate change through our climate damages tracker. The tracker provides a state-by-state assessment of insured and uninsured damages, power outages, government climate-related recovery spending, and much more. It's our view that climate has become a $500 billion a year engine of economic activity, and this number will likely increase if hurricane season expands into the early summer. The tracker and associated published research can of course be found on the BI ESG dashboard on the Bloomberg terminal. In early July, Google announced that it is no longer claiming to be carbon neutral, a claim the company had made since 2007. Google said it will end its purchasing of carbon offsets that had previously supported the claim. In 2022, the company purchased nearly 3 million tons of carbon offsets. However, the company has seen its emissions increase by nearly 50% compared to 2019, due in large part to increased energy consumption associated with AI. Google now plans to be net zero by 2030. While Google is certainly far from being a top emitter, this announcement is indicative of two key trends in the ESG space. First, continued concern about the actual impact of voluntary offsets on reducing emissions. And second, a significant increase in energy consumption for tech companies as they continue to develop AI. Microsoft, for example, also experienced a significant increase in emissions of 30% compared to 2020. For information on all things climate, including carbon forecasts for nearly 500 of the world's top emitting companies, please go to BI Carbon on the Bloomberg terminal. And earlier this summer, the EU passed the Nature Restoration Law. The landmark law aims to restore at least 20% of the EU's land and seas by 2030 and all degraded ecosystems by 2050. The law follows last year's approval of the EU deforestation regulation and provides another key step in aligning EU policy with global commitments made during the biodiversity COP15 to restore and protect at least 30% of Earth's ecosystems by 2030. It also adds considerable weight behind the general topic of biodiversity, which continues to emerge as a crucial topic in ESG research and analysis. BI's biodiversity topic primer breaks down all aspects of the issue, including disclosure frameworks, financing targets, shareholder actions, and the industries most impacted. This research can be found in the primer section of our dashboard under Topics. And now I'll turn over to Karen to walk through other tools that we have on Terminal that can help analyze biodiversity performance.
Thank you, Eric. My name is Karen Brenseke, and I'm a Sustainable Finance Market Specialist at Bloomberg. Today, I'll be reviewing how to access company information on the Bloomberg terminal around nature, biodiversity, and restoration, following the adoption of the new EU nature restoration law. This will enable you to see companies already making an impact in restoration. FA ESG eGo shows key information on a company's restoration footprint, including land disturbed by the company's activities versus the land restored or rehabilitated. Land restoration may include soil, ecological landscape, and introduction of wildlife to reverse the effects of environmental degradation. In this example, the company reported disturbing 4,900 hectares of land and rehabilitating 2,100 hectares of land in fiscal year 2023. To view the source of this information and more context, you can click directly into the company's source document. FA ESGE Go's biodiversity section shows key details on the company's current biodiversity policies, commitments, and actions. You can also use Bloomberg's ESG regulatory solution to discover companies conducting environmental protection and restoration activities, which are eligible to be tested for alignment with the EU taxonomy. In addition to eligible activities, you can also see which companies have reported alignment with the technical screening criteria established by this regulation. To view all EU taxonomy company reported and Bloomberg estimated data, you can run ESGD Go and select the EU taxonomy facet on the left-hand side, or you can select the EU taxonomy subtab on FA space ESG Go. In this example, the company reports EU taxonomy eligibility and alignment for various environmental objectives. When you click into the company report, you can see they conduct eligible conservation activities and report portions of their revenue and capital expenditures that are aligned with the biodiversity environmental objective. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. And as a reminder to our viewers, more data and research related to these topics and much more can of course be found on Terminal by going to BI/ESG Go. Thanks for joining us, and please stay tuned for next month's bulletin, and we'll see you then.